Kia ora, good evening. Southland police searching for missing boy Mike Zhao Beckenridge have revealed they believe he may have been the victim of a murder-suicide. It's nearly been a month since the 11-year-old went missing from his Invercargill school, and police in the community have been searching for the boy and his estranged stepfather, John Beckenridge. Although police cannot confirm anything is in Beckenridge's car, which was located in rough waters near Curio Bay, they told Campbell Live last night they are treating the disappearance as a murder-suicide. Police said all the evidence pointed to the pair being in the car when it drove over the cliffs. Yesterday it was revealed Beckenridge had more aliases than police were aware of, and there's still a possibility the pair has left the country. Mike's family told media they continue to hold on to hope that he will return home. Southland Fish and Game has decided to appeal to the Environment Court over plans to build a cycle trail along the Ariti River. The Southland District Council was granted resource consent for stage 2 of the Around the Mountains cycle trail in February. Submitters opposed to the plans had a time frame in which they could appeal the decision, and Southland Fish and Game say they were always committed to doing just that.
The number of people that made submissions to the application was a little over 200, and about 2/3 of those were anglers who were opposed to the cycleway going down this part of the Ariti River. Anglers are not opposed to the cycleway at all. In fact, we're all quite supportive of cycleways. They're a good thing to have. But there's no need for it to go down this part of the Ariti. There's a very good alternative that could be used, and that's the Mararoa, which is an adjacent valley that's very scenic. Very easy to build a good cycleway down there that would be very attractive to locals and tourists as well. And you wouldn't damage the existing trout fishery in the Ariti, which is very special. It's a internationally significant brown trout fishery that relies on the valley being the way that it is. And it's relatively remote, and yet it's quite easy to get to if you're prepared to walk a bit. And so all of those characteristics will be damaged by this cycleway, which is really a road into the wilderness, and that's what we want to prevent. At the moment, cyclists can go there if they want to. There's an old four-wheel drive track, and anybody can go into the area. So it's really the commercialisation and the domestication of the valley that's the main concern, and that will change the essential characteristics of the valley and its trout fishery.
So has the alternative of using the Mararoa, has that been addressed before?
Yes, we've promoted that for all the way along, really, and we've taken people from the District Council to there and talked to them about it, but they really haven't been that interested. They've wanted to use the Ariti all the way along, and have really been quite fixed on that. And so what we hope to do with this appeal is to really get to talk to them about that and really look at it much more seriously. We think that it's perfectly viable. It's a very attractive valley from a cycling point of view. It's much safer than the Ariti. The weather in there is actually a little bit better. It's more sheltered. If cyclists get injured, fall off their bike or get a puncture or something, they can be much more easily rescued in the Mararoa. And yet it's still scenic, it's attractive, and would be a really good part of the whole cycleway concept. We hope to set up a meeting with the applicants, with the District Council, so that we can talk about this alternative a bit more seriously. It's pretty much in the hands of the lawyers at this stage, though, because it is a formal process through the Environment Court, so there'll be all those procedures to go through. But certainly overlying all of that, we certainly hope we can talk to the District Council a bit more about this alternative. We really think that it is a good option, and we're really keen to talk to the District Council about it. I guess we're saying, look, we're not going to lay down and give up on this one. We're really determined to make sure the cycleway doesn't go down the Ariti, and we really want to promote the Mararoa so that this whole project can get on and be done and built, and people can start enjoying it.
While the news has come as a disappointment to the Southland District Council, they were always expecting Fish and Game to appeal.
I guess we were. We thought there was probably a more than 50-50 chance it would come in. We were hoping, of course, that Fish and Game would accept the decision and move on, but however, we've got an appeal to deal with now. We were disappointed. Wondered a little bit about whether the general members of the fishing fraternity that pay their licence fees are actually happy that their money was spent in this way. It'll cost a substantial amount of money to go through an Environment Court hearing, and Fish and Game have chosen to spend their licences money that way, so it's an interesting decision by them.
How much of a setback is this for the trail?
Well, it'll depend on timing and when we can get to the Environment Court and get a decision, but it potentially means that we won't be able to complete the trail by December this year.
Which could impact funding?
Yeah, well, it was one of the conditions with the Ministry and their funding that it would be completed by December this year. We had given them a heads up that until we go through the end of the appeal period and know whether we've got appeals or not, that potentially would have a delay.
And the council says Fish and Game's alternative route for the cycle trail is not an option for the Southland District Council.
Well, that was a point that was put all through the consent hearing, really, and I think our position was quite clear. It's not an alternative that we want to pursue, and it's the consent that we've got is the route that we want to follow. It's the one that'll develop the product that we want to produce. In the end of the day, that's what we're developing, a tourism product here, and we want it to be a top-notch product.
The Southland District Council said the Environment Court process could be a lengthy one, but they expected it to begin any time in the next 6 months. Stay with us after the break. Major companies are ending 0-hour contracts and find out what one man wants to do with the Kingston Flyer. Welcome back. A company responsible for major food chains throughout the country has announced it will be scrapping 0-hour contracts for all of its staff. Restaurant Brands has agreed to end 0-hour contracts by July for staff at food chains including KFC, Pizza Hut and Starbucks. Under the controversial contracts, employees have to be available for work with no guaranteed hours. The company said when it was approached by Unite Union about providing better certainty for its staff, it immediately saw change was necessary. The company said it was happy to guarantee minimum hours for its staff, with the proposal offering at least 80% of the average hours staff have worked over a 3-month period. The Unite Union said it would now focus on other major fast food chains including McDonald's, Burger King and Wendy's to end 0-hour contracts. One Invercargill man is on a mission to relocate the iconic steam train, the Kingston Flyer, from the shores of Lake Wakatipu to Invercargill. Brian Campbell believes the majestic steam locomotive could become an important tourist attraction to the region.
Setting the wheels in motion to firstly purchase, then restore and finally operate the Kingston Flyer is no small task. Previously, the Flyer was operating on 14 kilometres of private preserved track, and the train would have to meet Kiwi Rail standards to operate on a main trunk line, which could involve some major renovations and funding. The Flyer doesn't have a particularly successful track record as a financially viable operation, but Campbell says he's tired of seeing it fail.
We're going to bring this train home where it belongs. It mainly come and operated down in this area. And my number one agenda on my plan is to restore it. For the first time ever, it's never been restored, it's only been patched up.
He says he has plenty of volunteers to assist with labour and restoring the train.
This is going to be done like Southlanders do, for the love. And like volunteers, that's the labour, donations of timber to reclad the train, and donations from any other business and firms as will fundraise as we go. So the millions that people talk about that they can pour into steam trains might be just a myth if we can do it the Southland way.
Do you actually know how much work needs to be done as yet?
Well, I'm working under the control of Ian Welsh from Mainline Steam in Wellington. So he's pretty optimistic about how to restore a train. You know, he's optimistic about restoring trains anyway. So there's, the work will go on for some time because first and foremost, I think we'd probably like to get the train here and on the track and running, and then start restoring it. So it'll be a mission over quite a number of years.
He says the train would be a big asset to the region and believes the project could gain government funding through the Tourist Growth Plan, which has 2 main criteria.
This is a tourist industry which will take more money, get more money out of the international tourist, and the second thing that it adds added value to any other tourists, or people or group in the area, which of course is Bluff. Bluff will just prosper out of this.
But nothing can happen without first setting up a charitable trust, working out what it's going to cost, and finally obtaining funds to buy the train.
Generally, to get the train here and running, we could do it for $1 million, because it's a half. Mr. David Rice, the owner, is offered us the asset for $500,000, and another $500,000 would probably get it on the track.
Another hurdle to getting the plan on track is that before the locomotive can be moved from Kingston, it must be downgraded from Category 1 to 2 in its historic listing under the Queenstown Lakes District Plan.
The Queenstown Lakes District Plan has to be changed, and we have the funding for that already. So we are about to contest that, and that'll be subject to the sale and purchase agreement with Mr Bryce. So they work hand in hand.
I understand there's another punter that might be interested in Wanaka to get their hands on that train as well.
Yes, there is, but to put it in a museum and mothball it and put it in a glass cage, that's really sad. I think that, the Queenstown District Council will probably favour this. I think everyone will favour this first. It's either rust or run, isn't it?
Kingston residents would be made aware of the proposal before it was approved for public consultation as part of the district plan review.
As far as where it would be housed, if you were to be successful in getting it here, you've got some interest from the Richardson Group as well.
Well, that's what it's all about. If it wasn't for the Richardsons and the Bill Richardson Transport World Museum opening, I wouldn't go near this thing. They're going to bring the clients into this town, and we're going to help bring more clients into this town. So they've graciously given us the Gibbs Coal shed in Adams Street, which is right on the railway line, and it's perfect.
Wanaka's National Transport and Toy Museum has also expressed interest in obtaining the set of 7 carriages and 2 locomotives. Current owner David Price wants to see the train remain operational, but is leaving his options open. Margot Sutherland, South Today News.
And now let's take a look at the weather.
Nominations are open for the 2015 Southland Environment Awards. This year marks the 20th year of the awards, and Environment Southland wants to hear about anyone who's making a difference in our region. Individuals, schools, farmers, community groups and businesses. If that's you or someone you know, get an entry form and let's recognise and celebrate these environmental achievers. Entries close May 1st. Contact Environment Southland for details today.
And here's your weather for Thursday the 9th of April. Auckland a high of 22 today and Wellington 16. Christchurch saw a high of 14 today and Queenstown 15. Dunedin, Gore and Invercargill all saw highs of 14 today and Stewart Island saw a high of 11. Tomorrow Southland will see some scattered showers and cold westerlies. Riverton, Winton and Wyndham all with highs of 13 tomorrow. 13 for both Tuatapere and Gore, and 14 for Invercargill tomorrow. Tianau and Queenstown both with highs of 15 and 13 for nightcaps. Into the marine forecast for FOVO. Northeast 15 knots, changing southerly 20 knots tomorrow morning. Southwest swell rising to 2 metres with fair visibility and showers. In Pusaga, southeast 20 knots turning southwest 15 knots, sea becoming rougher at time with southwest swell of 3 metres. To the long range forecast, Saturday remaining showers clearing during the morning with westerlies developing. Sunday will see morning rain followed by showers and hail, and Monday showery with hail, snow down to 400 metres with strong cold southwesterlies. And that's it from us this Thursday. Be sure to join us tomorrow night for our final broadcast. From the news team, good night.